Man, the countdown is always so weird.
Hmm.
Like, when do you count down to have a conversation normally?
Yeah, exactly. And go.
And go.
Talk. Talk.
Okay. I'm so excited to bring to you all a conversation with Chris Martin from Coldplay. He's here with me today. No, I kid. This is a joke because the first time that I saw James, I actually thought he was Chris Martin from Coldplay. But 20 years ago, because he's now like, what, 50, 60?
I don't know how old he is, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so why are you here, James?
It's
Why
really
did we
good.
decide to have this conversation?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a very spontaneous and random and really beautiful interaction.
We
Um,
did.
it was it was it was lovely. It was really lovely. So, and then
The whole thing was just the most random morning of my life, like one of the most random mornings of my life. So maybe we should start there, how we met.
yeah, 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 absolutely.
Okay, so from my perspective, it's like a Sunday morning. I'm going to my favorite cafe ever. I've ordered my coffee. I'm sitting down. I'm just like, I'm not even on my phone. I'm just vibing. I'm just so happy. I don't know. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just sit in the morning and enjoy my coffee and time to myself. And then you walk in and you're like, you order your coffee. I'm like, oh God, what is he going to order? Like a soy decaf, something or other, matcha. And then you order it and you come and you're like, is this seat taken? And I'm like, no, sit there, please. And then you strike up a conversation with me. So wait, I want to hear from your perspective. Like, what is going through your head? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I just had a really beautiful morning, so I caught up with some clients of mine that morning. Had a session in Bondi, meditation session, a little bit more than meditation, but we'll get to that. And then had coffee. Yeah, I went to no, I didn't have coffee actually. I went had some breakfast, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to this cafe, and because I wanted to get a drink. And yeah, I stumble in and I see you in the corner, and I was vibing, and I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like talking to this lady next to me. So I just said hello, and
Do
um,
you normally talk to people in a cafe?
look, I not all the time, no, um,
Because I
not.
don't. I just go in and I sit.
Yeah, I don't. I used to a lot because it was, I worked in sales, direct sales, and just networking as well. I just, back in like the success, I've done a lot of mindset programs, a lot of business workshops, and the industry of network marketing. It's like you never know who you're going to sit next to, and
Exactly. Yeah.
so yeah,
So what, you
so
thought
I
I
used to
was
be
someone
very
important?
extroverted. I don't know. I was just honestly, I was just vibing, and I was like, something in me wants to say hello. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's say
Yeah.
hello.
Because it was so like
Yeah.
not, you weren't even trying. You were just like, what coffee did you order? And I was like, can you guess? And then you guessed it right.
Yeah.
And the girls behind the
Well,
counter were like,
I
oh
did.
my God, how did he do that?
I didn't guess it immediately. I got. Yes, you said no. What did I? I guessed cacao.
Yeah.
The
Wrong.
first and
It's the morning
wrong,
and I'm a
wrong,
girl.
and then it was espresso. It was caffeine,
Yeah. And then we
and
won't go
then
through the
and
rest
then it
because
was
it's a bit of a wank fest.
yeah. Okay, yeah. That's not yeah. Fair enough.
The no, it was like an almond milk with this like immunity elixir or something.
Immunity. Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah,
Um and then I don't even know like the rest. I think we talked for like an hour and a bit, 2 hours. I don't even
Maybe
know
an hour
what
and
we
a
talked
half.
about.
We just bantered. Honestly, we were just talking a lot of. Can I swear on this? Is that
Yeah, yeah.
is that okay, or do you want not me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I mean,
I swear all
we were
the
just talking
time.
shit. We were just talking shit. Like we were
We're
just
talking shit.
bantering and having a fun time. I can't even remember what we were talking about,
I don't remember. I don't remember
and
at
then
all.
and then
All I know is that the girls behind the counter kept bringing us out food.
yeah. Oh yeah, after like 30 minutes they brought us like these two chocolates, which are super rich, and I couldn't handle it. I had like one little bite. I'm
And
like,
then
oof.
I just smuggled the rest in my bag because I
You
felt
did.
bad because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want to not
Yeah.
eat them.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point was, I think at the end, I was like, okay, so what do you do? Like, what do you do for a living?
Mm.
And then you
Well,
told
yeah.
me.
Yeah, and even prior to that, we were chatting about your podcast and the Mind Palace and, you know, a bit about that. And internally, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like, this is great. Like, love this.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then you asked me what I do, and I said that I do a thing called frequency healing. Um, and, this is where, yeah, I just said frequency healing, through meditation. And you're like, oh my God, like, and it just clicked for you. And you're like, oh my God, I love that. Like, I love this. And, da, 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 and like, and it was funny because you were like surprised, like, oh, and I was like,
I
yeah.
think you were going to be in like
And
sales or something, but you were. I
yeah,
don't know what I thought. I thought you
yeah,
were
I
just a
mean,
gamer dude or something.
oh yeah, gamer guy. I mean, I got my
Or,
headset on now. I got my
yeah.
console.
Or like a guy from a band.
Yeah. But then we kept chatting after that, and then it came up about, more in depth about how I actually can see into people's frequency files without even knowing who they are, what they're about. I could not even see their face. I could just see a name. And, if I'm in the zone, I can just literally like just see their underlying infrastructure that creates this physical reality. And I kind of mentioned that and you were like, no way.
I was like, this guy
I was
knows
like,
the
yeah.
truth. Like, I need to talk
Yeah,
to
I was
him.
like,
And when you first said
yeah,
frequency healing, I was thinking, okay, he does Reiki, or like he just uses his hands and just like can feel frequency. But yeah, no,
yeah.
no,
It's
no,
not that. No, it's not that.
no, no.
It's like it goes way, and this is where, over the past, because we've been chatting between now and then, I've been trying to figure out how to label it and how to, um, what term to use because frequencies is the word frequency is used so much in the healing
Yeah,
space and the success space and the manifestation space. It's like raise your vibration, like your energy, and that stuff is really important. You really got to understand that. But this goes beyond the physicalness of binaural beats, uh, sound healing. It goes beyond that. It goes into, dare I
yeah.
say, beyond quantum. So
Whoa. Wait, isn't
yeah.
quantum the furthest you can even go? That's the most
Honest,
minuscule thing, like the atom, the energy in the atom. Beyond that.
yeah. Well, this goes beyond the physical plane. So like, it goes beyond electrons. Like,
Okay, all right.
and this is
Let's
just my
let's
theory.
ease our
This is
audience
just
into this.
I'm not like, I'm not like a
So,
scientist or anything. This is just,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
wait, so my like thinking about that afterwards, I was like, okay, he's just psychic. Like he just knows these things. So, what's the
Yeah.
difference between a psych or someone who labels themselves as a psychic
Mm,
compared to frequency healing? Because you're labeling it
love.
as frequency healing, but are you healing or are you just seeing?
Yeah, and I love that you bring this question up. So the different, and you kind of just said it just then. So the difference between, say, psychics and what I do is that psychics basically see the path on where you're going. They kind of see, um, they see that, say, that current path that you have, right? And this is my understanding. I'll probably, spend a little bit more time with psychics or just to research a little bit more about it as well, as I refine this. But what I do is not only do I see your coding, and then when I see your coding, I simultaneously help you turn on the lights in your room that's dark to see where you're positioned in time and space, to see how you're
Wow.
creating yourself. So when I do that, and then when you do that, when people do that, they start to self actualize, if you want to use that word. They start to self lead, they start to self heal, they start to go, oh shit, I'm creating this abuse pattern from mum. or like, wow, like I am really attached to my partner, they're keeping me stable. Or
Hmm.
so you start to say self heal. I literally shine my light on you and I expand and I go into deeper states. And in those deeper states, your deeper knowledge, this is where I'm not healing you. I'm not healing anyone. I'm not, it's not that. I'm just, and we use this word, I'm just being who I am. And by osmosis, people start to wake up to themselves because what I'm resonating at and say the truth that I'm resonating at, it lives in everyone. It's not
Mm.
unique to me. It's not unique to anyone. Everyone has the potential because it's in us. This knowledge and it's in us.
Yeah, I remember somebody
Yeah.
explaining this to me, and it was like I always wondered how somebody else in another place, so even like right next to me, could affect me. And
Mm.
the person wherever I heard it was, they said they were just connecting to that part of them in themselves. So you're just connecting to a place in yourself because I am also you.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I mean, at the deepest level, at the deepest level, we're all the same, right? We're all from, say, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it, your pristine self or your timeless essence. So it's that version of you that's just timeless.
Mm-hmm.
It's been here forever, will always be here, and it's that unseen side, and it's that side that science is kind of figuring out, and that
Figuring out, yeah.
Einstein and I can't remember that other guy's name. I think his name was Bell, someone Bell. Anyway, um, they were like discovering this, the double slit experiment. If you've looked into that, quantum physics, spooky action, spooky movement, spooky action in movement. I can't remember the exact quote, but
Mm.
yeah, I literally tune into that and I focus into that, and things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's
So
bring this into reality for people who are listening.
yes.
This
Yeah.
he James actually did this on me in the cafe. On me, I don't know if that's the right terminology. He did this with
Yeah.
me in the cafe, and it was all very spontaneous. I was open to it. At this point, we had been talking for like over an hour, and I was like, "All right, show
Mm.
me what you got. Like, what do you see in me?" And I was every time I ask that with somebody, I always get scared because I know they're going to point out something that I don't want to see or that I haven't seen, and sometimes it can be very confronting, and that's
Mm.
exactly what happened. So, and it was very interesting the way you did it as well. So I said, like, what do you see? I'm like, okay, he's going to go into some weird trance, or like, I don't know what I expected, but you literally just looked out in like like you just dozed off kind of. You just looked down, you're like, yeah, I see your dad. Like, um yeah, you're like, I see your dad and I see your dad's pattern. And I was like, what do you mean you see my dad?
Yeah.
So I don't, I think I asked you, like, what do you mean? So do you want to explain, like, what it is that you saw?
Yeah, yeah. So basic and even before that, I was like, "Are you sure?" Because
Yeah, I was like,
you
I'm
know,
ready.
because like whether people believe in this stuff or not, like it's deep. Like it's things really move and things change because you're going to the root. Hear it all the time. Let's go to the root cause of why you feel stressed or anxious or you have relationships that don't work or self-worth patterns, whatever it is. But this is like the root cause, you know? So I was like,
And
all
little
right,
me
like
was
if this
like,
moves,
yeah, yeah. I was just like, oh,
like
okay, this is gonna
when,
be cute. Like, what are you gonna see? I don't know. But
yeah,
apparently, subconsciously, I must have been so open to it because otherwise, you can't accept like interference, so to speak, from other people if you aren't open to it. So I must have been open to it.
yeah. Well, and I mean, and we've spoken about this, right? Like your optimization patterns. So,
Yes.
after this session, I was like, okay, like I got to support Jazz because like that was really intense. So I just want to make sure that she's stable as she goes through the process. And as we were chatting, this is maybe a couple of days later. It dawned on me that you have these amazing optimization patterns in your family. And, so at a deeper level, this isn't even a thinking mind. This isn't even, and the reason why you were so drawn to it, and to probably why to me, and why I was, just so open about chatting to you, because at a deeper level, your essence was just hungry. It was
Yeah.
just like, fuck, I don't even know this guy, but like he can help me. And
Yeah. I'm always drawn to truth. So
yeah,
I don't like, I
there
just
you
want to
go.
cut straight through the bullshit and get straight to the truth. What do I
Yeah,
need to do? This must be ingrained in me, because that's exactly what you saw. And you said,
yeah,
and I think that has a big link to when you said, I see your dad, because it was very much
yes,
on his side of the family, these
yeah.
optimization patterns, which also have a shadow. So do you want to explain that?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and you've done a really awesome job, by the way, already. It's crazy. It's awesome. But when we first met, and it was what, 3 weeks ago? So, you,
Damn.
you
Gosh.
a lot of, yeah. So not even, it doesn't. I mean, it feels like a long time, but it's not that long. So I saw basically the success patterns that you were moving through, and I'll just kind of like read a little bit into that part of your, say, history. So, because like you've changed so much, it's kind of like hard to like kind of read you a little bit. So,
What do you mean right now?
yeah, like you've shifted a lot,
You're reading
at
me.
that
You're
level.
reading me right now.
Yeah, so like I'm just looking at, say, your history. So, um, because even when it's almost as if someone's taken out the memory of, you'll say, father's shadow patterns. So it's hard to see, but basically your father sacrificed himself a lot, right? So would do all the work, but then there would always be attacks, or there would be, and a lot of successful individuals have this. They, something just wouldn't go right, or maybe their health or their relationships or something would be um, taxed. Um, so, you'd always have to like struggle to build something. You'd always have to like use more energy. And they say the more success that you create, the more energy and the more exhaustion that comes with it, like the more force that comes with it. So I just helped kind
What
of
was the
release
word
that.
you
And you,
used? You used the word self-abuse, which was,
there you go. Yes.
it hit home. It hit home so
Got it.
hard, because
Yep.
it really, to an extent, when you chase success, there is an element of self-sacrifice and self-abuse, because you're pushing your potential, you're pushing yourself beyond what you
Mm.
think is capable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're constantly moving, you're using your energy, and it does. Like, I think back to myself in high school, like, man, it was such
Mm.
self-abuse. I was just so like, I would sacrifice everything to do well.
Yeah. And you can create stuff that way. You can. And you look at the world and you look what we've created, you can create results. It's not like you're not going to create things.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Yeah. However, tell me
uh,
the however.
the however is, what if there was a better way, a more, again,
Mm.
efficient way, where you didn't have to sacrifice who you were? And that's like the old paradigm of sacrifice. I've got to sacrifice my time with my kids. I've got to sacrifice myself. A lot of it is I've got to sacrifice myself. I've got to sacrifice myself to achieve X. Okay. The new way of, say, sacrifice, or the purest definition of sacrifice, is I've got to sacrifice my old version of self to then nurture the new version of self. So I've got to let go of, and again, this isn't a psychological thing. It goes, again, super deep. But you sacrifice, say, the version that you are now to create lovely fertilizer for the new you. Okay. Instead of, say,
Okay.
I've got to does that kind of make sense? So I know it's a little bit subtle, and I feel like some people listening
Mm.
might get a little bit confused, because I'm like, well, isn't that the same?
Mm. So
It's not.
okay, let me try and ex- explain, and we'll see if this is right. So before I was sacrificing like my health, my energy, my time, like my time with
Yeah.
friends and family, doing what I love, right? Sacrificing the kind of physical things. But
Hmm.
what you're
Hmm.
saying is that the new paradigm, the new way of achieving success is not sacrificing
Yep.
all of that. It's sacrificing the identity of that level, so to speak. Is
Yes.
that right? That level
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
operation.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mm.
would say let's say that. Yeah. So yeah, it's sacrifice. Yeah. Yeah. Using your old self, sacrificing your old self to move into kind of like a like a crab. A crab. I don't know if you know, but crabs actually they shed their skin. You look at nature, they shed their skin. The the crustacean or whatever you call it, or like snakes. They
Hmm.
outgrow their skin, so they sacrifice that older version to then grow into the new phase. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I was obviously
So,
hungry for this shedding because I felt like,
oh,
I'm ready to
absolutely.
move. Like, what is holding me back? What is holding me back? And then
Yeah, yeah.
um, when you
You
said
released a
this, when you said,
lot. Anyway,
yeah, and we'll talk about
it's
that in a
amazing.
second. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when you said that, I felt all like I cannot explain to you, people who are listening, I cannot explain to you the emotions that came up when James said that.
Mm, mm,
I started just crying like
mm,
uncontrollably. Like I could not, it was like you
mm,
said something and it finally, my body was able to release it.
mm,
Like finally, I can stop the self abuse.
mm,
Finally, I can let go of
mm.
that. There's a better way. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm crying. And I started crying. The girls behind the counter were probably like, what the fuck is he doing?
I'm like, yeah, she's good.
Um,
She's great. She's good. Yeah.
I'm so fine. These optimization patterns are working wonders on me right now. I just need to release this. And I was also very angry. I was
Mm,
very angry because I'm like, I've done all this fucking work, and what, you still see my dad. And what you also said, because I'm so ambitious and because I have these success patterns, that I tend to attract feminine men. And I was like,
mm.
fuck that. Like,
Yeah,
that's what really got me because,
yeah.
you know, that's not who I am. Like, I don't want to be my dad. Like, I love my dad. I don't want to be my dad's shadow pattern, I should say. My dad is beautiful. And I've also had this
Mm,
conversation with him before this episode. So we kind of cleared the air with all of this. I don't know. I told you. I don't know if you can feel it, but I cleared the air with him with about this. He's also aware of this pattern because it not only came from him. It was obviously his dad and his dad and his dad. Like it just goes through the generations of this like hard work ethic,
yeah,
self abuse, like chasing this
yeah,
something. I don't know.
yeah.
Anyways, so I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I
Well,
apparently
yeah,
attract feminine men. So what does that say about you, James?
well, yeah. I used to attract masculine women. Like I was a really feminine guy. And I'm still going through. It's not like I'm perfect. I still. It's a continual evolution. So I'm. Um, I've been single for like over a year because I was in a really lovely relationship. It's the best relationship I've had, like amazing relationship. But again, I sacrificed myself and just a little bit. Wasn't even a lot, again, because it was a lovely relationship. But I sacrificed a little bit of who I was in that relationship, and when you kind of moving through the process and you start to discover, it's like, damn, like carrying the burdens of my family, this and that, rah, rah, rah. It's like, let's just take a step back, and it's not the person. Okay, it's like not the truth of, say, your father. It's not the truth of, say, my mother or my father. It's the frequencies that they're generating that they've
Right.
just
That's
carried
the whole it's
on,
the whole
that
quote
you're
of
on.
like it's it's not you. It's not you. It's what you've
Yeah,
absorbed and are emitting.
totally. Yes.
Mm.
And it's so when, because I've gone through that phase where just get really pissed at like, fuck, like, like, God damn it, dad, or like whoever it is. And
Damn
you
it.
want to you're angry at the pattern. You're not angry at, say, the person. behind the pattern.
Yeah. No,
So,
and I
um,
know you have nothing but love for the people who showed you this pattern. I have nothing but love for my dad. Because once you see the pattern, you recognize that it's actually not who they are.
yeah,
It's a behavior that comes from what
yeah,
they have been taught or brought up with
yeah,
or absorbed from their father or whatever.
yeah, absolutely.
And then so I'm like at this point I'm getting pissed. Like I'm angry. I'm like, what the freaking hell? Like I'm so conscious, I'm so self-aware, and yet you see straight through me.
Mm.
And I was like, so what do I do now? Like optimization patterns coming through. What do I do? How can I work through this? What framework can you give me? Like, how can I move through this? And you're like, it's already done. You're like, the fact that you're aware of it now, like I've shed the light on it, that's all you like, do nothing, which is so counterintuitive to as a society, like how we think we achieve results is
Hmm.
through hard work and effort. It's actually just like a lot of it's just awareness and then a subtle change internally. And apparently that is what has happened since it was only 3 weeks ago. Only three
Yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And again, because and individuals that are in the success space, whether it's business or just outside of business, maybe it's health or a career. But if for individuals that are already operating from that space that have that say coding in place, and you go into the mindset work and you do the NLP work that you've done and all of that amazing stuff that's really important. When you combine it with like with your timeless self with timeless, it just like things just really move. And this is why it's so different, because a lot of there's less and a really lovely friend of mine, super wise guy, he said to me, uh, you don't need to mentalize to be a master. I'll say that again. You don't need to mentalize something in order to be a master at it. So think about your body, and whoever's listening, just think about your body right now. Like, think about all the cells, think about all the functions that your organs, breathing patterns, literally the bacteria, like there is so much going on that you don't even know about. You can't mentalize it, but your body is a master at it, right? So
Mm.
this is where this knowledge, and again, that's alive in all of us, you don't need to mentalize it. That comes later. Yeah. So you shift, again, you shift your perspective, you shift, say, where you're creating yourself from, you let go of stuff. And there's a time lag, right? Because we are in this physical reality, this physical density. Um, but give it time, and then it'll just like hit you, and you look back and you go, oh crap, that's like what he meant, or like damn, and you just notice things, and things just like, and I think it's happened for you, like um, again in a very short amount of time, where it just comes through, and then instead of mentalizing the knowledge from like outside of you, you just are the knowledge, and you
Mm.
and you just know. So
Mm. It's like the way I can explain this is, when someone walks in a room and you just know kind of who they are. They don't need to say anything. They don't need to prove anything to you. It's felt.
mm,
It's just
mm,
they
mm-hmm,
are they are the embodiment of that knowledge. That's
mm-hmm,
the way I see this.
totally. And
Mm.
you might not even like know too much about a topic, but if you walk into a room after, when you really hone this in, people recognize you, whether they're aware of it or not. Like people like
Oh, it's all
they like
unconscious. Yeah.
recognize you. Yeah. So um,
They're
I mean, on
drawn
this
to you
topic
as
as
well,
well.
which is yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, and this is where, once you really clean up and you start to like stabilize on your own, because again, that's the key, is that you want to, I can help people and whatnot, but you've really got to harmonize on your own. and stabilize on your own. So you become your, and I can't, even if I want it, and I don't really want to, because it's not beneficial for me to like save someone, save someone and move out of my space and, drown with them.
Is that even possible?
Um,
Is that even, can you do that? Get lost
right.
in somebody else?
Probably, well, yeah, through the process, absolutely. Now I can't, just because, I mean, if I
You're
wanted,
so
no,
strong in
I
yourself.
wouldn't, yeah, like I've gone
How
through that phase, so
how did
I
you, because when I was like upset, you were very distant. You were just like, it's okay. Like, it's like that meme when someone's upset and you have a broom and you're just tapping them on the back. You're like, it's all right. I don't know how to engage with this person who's like so upset. But I know that was all intentional. Like, you're not gonna be there like, oh, it's okay, you're gonna be fine. You're just like, yeah, they're all right.
that, and that's the key, is like you stay at your level, and you shine and you expand over people. So instead of, say, reducing, or say, shifting your consciousness or moving into, say, into their reality, and you sacrifice in yourself, right? You sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
yourself to heal, and then you move back up, you expand, and then you help, say, the individual then elevate themselves.
Elevate, exactly.
So
You don't go down to their
yeah,
level.
yeah,
One
absolutely.
of
And it's not as if you
one of
don't
the
care.
Yeah, no,
It's
no, it's the opposite.
it's
You care so much that you're lifting them to a higher standard. Like, you saw that in
yeah,
me, and you're like, I know she's bigger than this. Like, she just needs
yeah,
to let go of that.
yeah, y-
One of the principles that we're taught in NLP is that, and this sounds harsh, but being
mm,
empathetic is pathetic, because you're actually like absorbing the emotions and the state of that person. So if you see a person who's struggling, like, actually, what's the word? Like, entertaining their struggle is not helping them.
yes,
So I think
absolutely.
that's what you were doing with me. You were just like,
Yeah,
she's,
yeah, totally. And it's just and I really like that. I really like that. That's on
yeah.
point. Yeah.
So
So,
I really want to get to how you were able to tap into these deeper states, but I want to
yep.
finish off this story
Oh, yeah,
because,
yeah, yeah.
like, it's been 3 weeks. So so I think we just like reached the conclusion of, yeah, I was just upset. I was like, I don't know what to do from here. Okay, I need to go. I was actually on my way to a date with a guy. So I'm in this like, we've just cleared up like generational trauma. I'm like bawling my eyes out. Now I need to go on a date with a guy.
Like, now I got to see this
Um,
guy. Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, like, now I got to see this guy. Yeah.
Obviously, I can't dump this on him and explain, yeah, hey, this guy like read into my frequencies and I have this like all these patterns that I need to clear up. So I had to not suppress, but like compartmentalize all of that, which
Yeah.
was very interesting for me to do.
Mm,
Um, I can't believe I did that.
mm,
I just said to him like, hey, something weird happened this morning. Don't ask about it, but if I'm off, like, just understand why. I'll tell you maybe one day. Um, and yeah, so what did I do? I went behind the counter. The girls at the cafe were like hugging me, and they were like, what just happened? Like, it was like watching, I don't know, because from the outside it just looked like two people were talking, but I know they could feel something happening, not only because there was such an emotional reaction in me, but I think they could have just seen that something deeper was happening. They didn't even ask, they just said, well, that was beautiful. And I was like, I don't know what just happened, I'm just so emotional. And then like we hugged, and then I just was like, okay, see ya, bye. Went off down the street, like tears in my eyes. And yeah, that was like the end of that really weird morning. Did not expect any of that. Since then, I, I don't, to be honest, again, I can't mentalize what happened. I don't know what has happened between then and now. I can't even sit here and be like, I've changed so much. Like, you changed me. I don't know. I don't know any of it. I kept saying to you, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
Yep.
Um, so, yep, that's the story of my Sunday morning 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. We should do
I
it.
don't
We
know
should
if you
do
have
it.
any more to add to that.
We should chat again in like 3, 6 months. You know,
Okay.
or I mean, just
Okay.
just yeah,
No, I'm excited. Yeah.
yeah,
What do you
yeah,
think? Do
yeah.
you think more change is coming?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it takes time. Like things happen at such a deep level that I call it the creation layers. So I call it, so you have like your source code here, which is again just that time your timeless self, and then you filter or say you create your physical self here. So imagine it's kind of like your timeless self is a projector, and then your physical self is the image on the wall.
So I remember you
Yeah.
actually explaining to me this metaphor, and this will be helpful for people listening.
Mm.
You said this is just you just said it so like bluntly and to the point, like this is a simulation. Yeah, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
like
going there. Yeah.
yeah,
So
we're
no, like
simulating
there
ourselves. Yeah, yeah.
there is I don't know what you call it, source or something, and then it
Hmm. Yeah, it
emits,
filters
like you
through.
said.
Yeah, like your light again, or again, for lack of a better word, your light, then creates through layers into this physical density. Okay, and this might evolve over time as my abilities, like as I evolve, like my understanding of this might change, but currently this is how I see it. So yeah, so it takes time, right? So there's you go through recalibration, but things shift at this level and then they filter through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So
That's incredible. I think we
yeah,
try. I think this goes against again like our common perception that we need to make things move on the physical level. Like, oh, I need to work really hard. I
yeah,
need to do all these things physically. I need to exercise. I need to, I don't know, like the physical stuff, like you
yeah,
said. But if there's a shift right at the top where it all starts, like it just filters through and everything else changes and
yeah,
you don't actually need to do anything. Like you said, like
yeah,
you just completely shed a light on, I don't know, that could have been hundreds of years of this patterning. You
yeah. I
just
mean,
said something and it's like, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
gone, but
Yeah, and again, it's a process, right? So, um, once you start cleaning up your stuff, then you clean up your family stuff, and then, great grandma, generational, and then you start cleaning up humanity's patterns. Um,
well,
and this is where your abilities come in, and, you just magnetize, and this is where, like, it's not as if you don't do the physical stuff. Again, I've had clients where they've been stuck, in say the physical realm. They have their frequency infrastructure set up, their blueprint, they're primed and ready, but then for whatever reason, they're just a little bit stuck. So I've referred Tony Robbins to people. I've referred like, man, this guy, like watch this, the belief cycle, the NLP belief cycle. Belief leads to potential, potential leads to action, action leads to results, and then results builds your belief. That belief
mm-hmm.
cycle. So it is depending on who you are. Certain practices, physical practices, would also be
Help.
beneficial. But
I mean, for me to understand
yeah,
everything that you're saying, I needed to start like at, your beliefs create your real. I needed to start there. You have to start
yeah,
somewhere, and then
yeah,
you just like
totally,
understand more and more and more makes sense, and you're like, oh
yeah,
my god, like that's only
yeah,
just the tip of the iceberg.
yeah. And that's probably what it is. It's probably as you go through that, you realize like there's so much stuff that you don't know. And that was one of my favorite graphs and images that I found during my, this was a decade ago when I really started diving into all this stuff. Did like the mental side of things and all that sort of stuff. Was there's things you know about. There's things you don't know about, right? And then there's things that you don't know about. And that was like 90, 8% of stuff out there. There's things that you don't even know that you don't know about. And that just like blew my mind when I saw that graph. I was like, holy
And
moly.
you're like, I gotta know those things.
Whoa. Yeah.
My instinct is I want to
Oh my
know
God.
that. Like, oh my God, like, what am
Yeah.
I doing here? I want to see what's happening over there. That seems more exciting to me.
Yeah. So, there's pros and cons to that because, you're so hungry for truth. But you also might say immerse yourselves in information, not necessarily information. It's more like, or maybe information, but again, like frequencies of like facilitators that um, anyway, might not be as pristine as what you're looking for.
Yeah, and
So,
maybe that one is a conversation for another time because there's a whole nother story we
yeah.
talked about relating to hair color too
Mm.
with that.
Oh, yeah, that
So
one. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
like if our
true.
listeners are ready for that yet.
That's cool.
This is like a whole nother level. I don't think I fully
Yeah,
grasp what the heck happened, but
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm really excited to actually, I'm really curious, I should say,
Mm, mm,
to make sense of like how did you start knowing this?
yeah. So,
Because you're just like this regular dude. Like I made this joke to James, like he's like, "Hey, Jazz, sorry, I've just got to go basketball training." I'm like, "What? This guy talks to God and he goes to like basketball training, like nothing happens. Like you train kids, like you're just a regular dude. Like you order coffee, you go to basketball training, like nothing changes." But if you talk
yeah,
to, if anyone gets a chance to talk to James, he's like, he'll tell you things that you just don't, you can't even comprehend.
yeah.
But you're just a regular dude.
Just a regular guy. That's it. Um, yeah. So I slept in a cave for like a month. So like with no food, no.
No way!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So that's how I access these powers. No.
Like I actually thought this. Like
No.
why didn't he live under a rock,
I went.
dance naked
I
under the
flew to
moon?
I
Like that's
flew
my
to Nepal.
perception.
Yeah, I flew to Nepal and then just found a monastery and just like meditated for like
Yeah,
30 days, 40 days
this
and
is
40
what we
nights.
think though. This is what we
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. But I've got to give thanks to my teacher. His name's Mas Sajadi, Masajady. So if you Google him, you'll find information about him. But basically, he has now had three near deaths. So he had a near death in his 20s. I won't go into the details. Pretty horrific, but basically it was a warehouse accident, and he saw his body in front of him, and like yeah, when he got crushed, he saw his body in front of him, and he was like here, and he had that moment of like, well, hang on a second, if my physical body is there, like what's this? How am I observing myself? So another 20 years later, he had another near death, drowned, and again, his say he was these abilities started to come through, or say guidance, right? Or he was just drawn to meditate, and for him specifically, it was a standing meditation. I used to do a lot of standing meditation as well because I was like, again, success patterns, right? It's like, all right, you know,
You've
who's
got them
rocking it? All
too.
right, let's just
You got
yeah,
them
absolutely.
too.
Um, and so and he had a third one. I can't remember, like a year ago in Peru. So
Man, this
I
guy's got
I
a
was
death wish.
yeah. He's really got to like, and he even says it. He's like, man, like, I don't need to like go through this every time. Like, come on, like so um so yeah, I was introduced to him, and again, because I was doing I was doing the meditation work, I was doing the visualization, I was listening to Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks, I was doing Tony Robbins, I was doing Gary V, I was
Oh my
doing
God.
all the all these amazing things, and I remember listening to him. He does really he does a group online session called the 18 Days. I also do an 18 Days as well, but I'm listening to these calls, and on the back end of these meditations, I remember him saying, like the norm isn't normal. You know, I feel like I'm not the normal one. And he's like, everyone has access to these abilities and everyone has the potential to access these abilities. And I remember the first time he said that, I was like, yeah, right. Like, you're kidding yourself, mate. Like, shut up. Like, I was like, bullshit. Like, you've had two near deaths, like, as if. And then lo and behold, as I've gone through the process, again, it's just clicked. Things have just clicked. They've just unlocked. It's like as you expand and you elevate and you grow, that a whole nother layer of information just is literally you just become
Right.
that information.
Right. So it's
So
not like you learnt anything. It was more like you just
no,
you always say you like cleaned up yourself. What does
yep.
cleaning up yourself look like for the listeners?
Uh, well, I mean, it can look
Does this mean
it can
living
look
under the moon? Like living
so.
under
Oh
a rock
yeah,
in a cave for a month?
just naked on the beach. That's all at midnight on full moon. Don't forget your crystals. Don't forget your crystals. So, and you got to swim. If you don't swim after you meditate,
Yeah. And then
it's not going to
you
work.
got to chant.
You've got to chant in the
And then
ocean, kumbaya. You've got to like, funny because I do that during meditation. I go, um, um, no.
no, so
So,
really, what did you do?
yeah, honestly, like people, I mean, you can do it in a variety of ways. Some people actually do it through a lot, like the natural ways. Um, from just people I've spoken to, tragedy is a big one. When you see like a horrific, for example, I had not a client, but just a client's friend, partner. He drowned. He nearly died. And again, he was say on the edge of death, and because he was on the edge
You
of
like you
death,
wake up.
you're yeah, all right. And so this is why extreme sports, driving, really fast speeds. I'm not saying go do that, but I'm saying like F1 drivers, you are literally on the edge of death. So
Death, yeah.
you're closer to that timelessness. Yeah. So that kind of comes through. And that's what I do on. It's not like I bring you to the edge of death on these sessions. Uh, sometimes maybe. No.
So guys, let's do
But
some cliff jumping, extreme sports. Like this is how
yeah,
you're going to access these next level
I might.
superpowers.
I might.
I
Who
you know
knows?
what
Like,
that reminded me of I watch extreme sports all the time. So this is I don't know why. It just excites me. But I watched Kai Lenny, that big wave surfer,
hmm
and he surfs Nazare, which is like the biggest wave in the world. And he does it with no fear. Like you can just tell he's living in this like there's no other way to say this, but he's just living in the present moment so much that he has just mastery over something that could kill you.
yeah.
Like he
Well,
just dances with
yeah.
death all the time.
Well, and this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but like for him, if he wasn't doing that, he probably feels like he's dying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, like if he wasn't doing something so extreme, he'd probably feel like that he's like
Is that something
dying. So,
he was his nervous system is just calibrated to this such high like
um,
adrenaline?
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, just what I'm seeing, just looking into him,
You're
he,
looking at me right now.
um, it, it's almost as if, I don't know, something happened to him when he was like a kid, and he kind of jumped out of his body, like so far, and he kind of lost his way. So he didn't. So maybe when he was a kid, he might have been like a little airy or like a little spacey. Like his parents might have said that he was a bit spacey, and then he was introduced to something that helped him just just come back. So I don't know. Uh, but
Right,
so that's why it
guys.
has to be in those extreme states. So, but you can do it, you know, so ideally you want to kind of be able to do that outside of those extreme states, you know, and you can, but that's literally what those, let's say, adventure activities do is you can't fuck up. Like if you fuck up, you're dead. You're gone. Like
Right.
you can't. So that's why you
Yeah.
just have to be so in the moment and just so here. And that's why you get that, say, like you feel euphoric feeling because you're literally on the edge of death.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, and it's that
That's so
timelessness.
interesting.
You're pulling it into the physical. So it's like, yeah.
That's
So
so interesting. I hope Kai Lenny listens to this
yeah,
one day.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I
So
also obviously not on Kai Lenny's level, but
mm,
I also am drawn to those things.
mm, probably why. Again, with your patterns, it's probably why because it's like, um, um,
Wakes you
and
up, right?
also
Like
like
it.
yeah,
Mm.
but it just also seems like your family is just adventurous. I don't know. The guys in your family just seem like, you know, they literally seem like cliff jumpers. You know, I don't know if there was someone in your family that like just, um, yeah, just like jumping off stuff. So,
Wow, that's so random.
um,
That I don't know
yeah,
anybody in my family who's a cliff jumper.
yeah, you know, like maybe 2 or 3 generations back, maybe. Again, I could be a little bit off, but someone back in the day.
Wow, very interesting. That was a
Mm.
tangent, but the original curiosity was how you came to discover your innate abilities, the abilities that we all have.
Yeah,
So obviously it's like one way is coming close to death. Is there another way?
yeah. Well, working with me, you can work with my teacher. You know, Mars, either or, it doesn't really matter. Like seeing beauty as well. And even the time that we're in, like right now, the time that we're in, you know, people are starting to shift. Some people won't. Some people, and you know, it's kind of sad. Like some people just bury themselves in their stuff. But for the people that are more aware, and again, it's not like a conscious awareness. Like you could have Joe Blow down at the pub, and he's just like, "What am I doing?"
Bro, what's the point?
You know,
Yeah, like yeah,
like
it's really
he
like
might just have a
what the.
moment. He might just have a moment. You know, so it's not like a mental thing. But you know, and I mean, you look at since COVID, because again, COVID, that time, the
Mm,
time frame that we're in, okay, big change. A lot of change happened, right? But again, it was a consciousness thing, right? So, you
100%.
know, a new wave came in, and it literally, it's just like, you know, the process that, say, clients go through with detox and letting go of stuff and feeling unstable and cleaning out the closet and again, processing. Uh, you know, they might relive old emotions. Some people don't experience that. You know, like again, for you, you just kind of let it go. You had those emotions, and then you went through that phase pretty smoothly. Some people who are more controlling and more fearful,
Or
they'll
attached to
hold
it.
on to their
If
stuff. Yeah,
yeah, if it is a part of your
yeah.
identity, it's harder to let go. Mm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, you know, abuse might heighten to be like, hey, dude, like it's coming out of you, and then you want to release it. So,
And then you're like, "Oh my god, it's
but
back."
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just on the
So,
Yeah, I was just going to say just on the collective consciousness thing.
mm,
Um
yep.
I was I don't know, not really even surprised, but the whole COVID thing, like that's when this all started for me. Um so COVID, for anyone interested in this, like the entire epidemic thing was a collective consciousness, a collective like release of fear. Like there was such fear in the world before then, so much fear that it almost needs to come out in the most ugly, like horrific way. And I remember like during COVID, I remember feeling such intense fear. Like I lost all my freedom, couldn't see my family, everything was taken from me. I had never felt so sad and alone in my life. And then something just like clicked. And I was like, oh my God, none of this matters. It was just like the most normal moment. And then after that, I don't think I've been the same. So I think, like you said, people are kind of
Yep.
like, quote unquote, waking up and like, what are we doing? Like, what is
Yeah.
this for?
And like, yeah, like waking up's not like, it's not about like conspiracy theories and anything like that. It's just
No,
about
no.
like it's about waking up to your own limitations or where you have been limiting yourself. That's basically what it's about. And have you been living your life the way that is pure for you? So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah.
And so turning on these abilities or like connecting to them is largely about, when you say cleaning up, it's about recognizing where
Hmm.
you have been holding yourself back, like what illusions have you been living in, what constructs have you been living, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, even listening, if you've gotten this far as well, you've probably felt
Oh my
stuff,
God.
for listeners. Absolutely. Because even during this conversation, things have been moving. Um, so it's like you don't even have to like know that stuff.
It's felt.
Like,
It's
oh,
all felt.
like what it's again, that stuff will come later. And even in my own journey, like in my own process, and even again, clients, like they just have a moment where like, oh, like wait, people are responding to me differently. Or they might, for
Really?
some people that need, say, external validation, because again, our filters, they can run pretty deep. If people feel like they haven't changed, people outside of them would say that they've changed. So they would need external, like they just feel different, or they're just like, oh, you're just
Mm,
different. So,
mm.
but like for me, I remember I went to this guy, a buddy's birthday, and I'd known him for 3 4 years prior to that, and we had dinner, and that night he's like, dude, this is crazy. Like I feel like I'm meeting the real James tonight, like for the first time ever after 3 4 years. So um um
Wow.
and I know I'm like jumping around a lot, but that's kind of, again, learning isn't linear. Like it's so this is like a deeper level learning as well. So it's not about, I can't, it's, yeah. So I mean, there's so many like topics and
I
ways
know,
that we
we're
could
man.
go.
Like we need to do like a
Um,
part two to this. So we'll see what some of the responses are and some of the questions that come out of this, because a lot of this, like,
yeah, yeah,
it's big stuff, and I know
it
people
is
who are
big.
up
Yeah,
to this point are open to it. So this is for
yeah,
them.
yeah. And even people that like might not like conceptualize it, it might just feel good listening
If you
to it.
feel it.
It
Yeah.
might just feel like, I don't know why, like I don't get anything what these guys are saying, but like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, mm, I think what led me
yeah,
here, yes, you could say the optimization patterns, but a lot of it was just, oh my God, this feels so right. Like, this feels like, yes, of course are capable of more than we think. Like, yes, of course, like it
yeah,
just feels so expansive to me. And so I just followed that
yeah,
expansiveness. None of it needed to
yeah.
make sense. It just felt good. That's why one of my first episodes was like, follow the breadcrumbs or whatever. I can't remember. It was like, follow what lights you up.
Love that.
Because,
Love that.
like, if you just keep following what lights you up, that's like higher intelligence. That's beyond you. So just trust if this feels right for you.
Yeah,
Just
totally.
enjoy it.
Mm.
Wait. So one more question about that. So am I allowed to ask, what were your patterns, if I can ask that? Like, patterns? What did you have to
Yeah,
personally?
absolutely. And look, I still experience them. It's not as if like, um, but you become like a ninja, right? I mean, my personal goal, is to create a life where like I am just so pristine, like I'm just, like, um, like in time and space and time. Like I'm just
Like,
so
you're a
connected.
master.
It's just
You're
like
you're a master of your
yeah, like a
reality.
yeah, like you're a singularity. There's no disconnect between, all the time, between you're time bound and timeless. You just are. Okay. But I had, I mean, the first experience that I had, I listened to, again, one of my teacher's podcasts. It was called Starting Your Journey, where, what led you to where you were. And I, again, I'm listening to this recording, and all of a sudden, like, these memories come up and these visuals, and like tears just like slowly like start coming out of my eyes. I'm like, yeah, damn, like, whoa, like, shit. And this is like a recording. And it was attention. What got me to where I was the need for attention. Okay. As a kid. And, I've got, suicide patterns in my family, and I'll just go there because, again, and suicide's huge. So I've cleaned a lot of that stuff up. Health
Suicide in
issues.
the way as like needing attention is or a
No,
genuine
no, like
actually.
no, like psychological abuse. So a lot of my like
Okay.
my health patterns, um, as a family, we're like, say, the McDonald's. That's my last name. Really efficient with food, really good. So I've never had issues with like gut health or anything like that. It's always been like really awesome because, again, our bodies, again, whatever pattern we have is just really efficient with food. But again, for me, it's been more psychological stuff. So um, all this potential, but then you're like in a cage. And then the people
Mm.
around you are like, dude, why aren't you, like, come on, man? Like, what are you doing? And like so for me, I yo-yoed a lot back in the day. Like, I yo-yo, and even recently, and I've gone through a few cycles, and then now where I am now, it's like, okay, cool. I've done these. So I've elevated and then came back down, and then elevated and then come back down. And now I'm like, I kind of, recently, maybe even 3 months ago, even Ibiza, before I met you, like, literally like Europe, like literally now I'm like at that phase where it's now, oh, okay, cool, like I've done the yo-yo thing a few times now, like I don't need to do that anymore.
You don't. That's
So
you
now
just
it's
get to
now
a
it's just
point
like,
where you're
oh,
just like,
yeah,
I don't need to do that anymore. Like it's
yeah,
not helping.
yeah,
But it's so
I've
interesting you
learnt
say that
enough.
because when like I've been thinking about like our interaction and what's happened in the past 3 weeks. The first like natural thing that I wanted to just tell you was like, you are sitting on so much potential. What the fuck are you doing? Like
There
that
you
was
go.
everything that I wanted to express to you. I'm
There
like,
you
why is
go.
he sitting in his shell? Like why are
Mm.
you I was like, get the frick on my podcast. Like, let's talk about this. Like, why are you playing
Yeah,
small?
yeah,
Like
yep, there you go.
my patterns are like interacting with your patterns and like
Totally, totally.
what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
and then even through our conversation, we were talking about podcasting and business plans and things like that. And like, I just felt this need to like share with you everything like that I did that helped me. And you're like, oh
Mm,
my God, yeah, like I got to do it. I'm like, yeah,
mm,
you got to
mm,
like
mm,
stop
mm.
like talking yourself out of playing
Yeah,
big.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm going to use Riverside. I've just been doing it on my phone, but Riverside's got amazing quality. So,
Get a new laptop.
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh, it's all happening. I've booked a festival, so I'm going to like a small music festival. So I'm doing a workshop there at the end of April. Again, launched my 18 days, so I've got 9 clients on that, which has been great. Growing that back into it, and um, yeah, just getting content out there. And I'll be hosting more events here in Sydney, like live events, maybe an hour and a half, like group sessions as well. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, it's all ticking along. It's all, yeah. So
Yay. We
yeah,
need you. We need your work.
yeah,
People need you.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I think anytime I
absolutely.
try and hold myself back, I think, no, this is bigger than me.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
there's
mm.
somebody somewhere that needs to hear this.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And the world needs help. Yeah,
Yeah. People are ready for it. People are ready to hear this.
I agree.
Yay.
I agree.
Okay, we've talked.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, yeah.
Um, all right. Well, James, it has been a pleasure having you on. It's so funny. As soon as it ticks over to an hour, there's like this natural, okay, yeah, the conversation's like we've said we've said what we need to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, yeah.
Every time I have somebody on, it's like the 1 hour mark. I'm not
Hmm.
even looking at the time, but
There you go.
anyway, this was a long time coming. Honestly, I can't believe it was only 3 weeks ago that we met. I feel like so much is, I don't know, time isn't real, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
feels, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it
Okay.
is
All
real, but
right.
it's just not to.
It can feel like a long time and it can feel like a short time
Oh,
depending on
totally.
what's happening.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
I I feel like this entire conversation has been a quantum leap in itself. Like
yeah. Hmm.
the I just feel so unrestricted in holding back my truth now. I don't know. I think something has shifted in that sense. Like this just feels so natural, and I know that, um, yeah, like everybody who's coming on this journey is also going to skyrocket from here.
Yeah,
Tag along,
absolutely.
tag along to
Totally.
my optimization patterns, and
Yes.
learn through osmosis.
Absolutely. Um, and before we go, if people do want to find me,
Of
you can just
course,
go.
yeah.
You
How
can
can they
just
find James?
There's my self-worth patterns coming through.
Oh,
um,
wait, we're a great team. Like I'm never
yeah, yeah,
letting you
yeah,
tell
yeah.
yourself that you're small because
I appreciate
just
that.
like shut up. Just shut
Yeah,
up.
I love that. Thank
Yesterday
you.
you made a comment and I was like, no, shut up, James.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it big time. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. James dash McDonald, just like the hamburger, McDonald .com. That's my website. I've also got,
Cool. You've got a website.
yeah, but I've got a lot of, I don't know how free it's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to be free for, but I've got a lot of free stuff in a Facebook group called Medi Masters, MEDI Masters.
Hmm.
And that's where you can go if you're curious about it. That's where you can go just to experience the sessions. So for free
Awesome. And I'll
for
that's
now.
amazing. I need to go to one of those like ASAP. I will put all of the information in the show notes. Yeah. James, you're a
Cool.
mastermind and you're also simultaneously the most like regular dude I've ever in the best way. In the best
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, I've loved this conversation. I honestly want to talk to you all the time. Like this
Yeah,
is
I
so
want
much
to.
fun.
Yeah, like we could. Yeah, keep chatting. So good. It's fun.
Yay.
It's a lot of fun.
Yay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let our audience go now. If you have any questions, as always, DM me, email me, whatever. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Bye.